Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. Today is November 11th, Tuesday, November 11th, 2025, streaming live. As promised, this is a part two of the Russell Brand expose, I guess you could call it. And I'm titling this Russell Brand Part 2, The Grand Deceiver. Yesterday, I brought to you a video about the very strange MAGA rise of Russell Brand. He has sort of hitched along for the ride with all of the MAGA and Turning Point. Children's Health Defense wants you to bid on a spearfishing adventure with this fellow. Boy, did I get some funny comments about that. In fact, I think I've got one here. Let's see. I'd never go anywhere, let alone spearfishing, with anybody that has ties to the government in any way, shape, or form. This is from Liz. She says they are all evil and nefarious. Most worship Satan. If I see any occult symbolism, one eye, especially on their advertisements, pics, videos, etc., that raises the red flag in my mind every time. She also says Tim Pool is another one I don't trust. I really don't follow any podcasters, so I don't know about Tim Pool, but if they have 1 million subscribers, you can pretty much be sure that they were promoted by someone for some reason. So in my video, in my Substack, I talked all about this so-called comedian turned Christian. I guess that's what he's calling himself. We're going to be breaking down all of these signs and symbols. It is rather bizarre that Russell Brand, who has been criminally charged with sexual assault, including on a 16-year-old, is being promoted for you to go spearfishing. Now, I guess maybe it's because this organization was headed up by another, well, a serial adulterer, Bob Kennedy, and I guess they think it's a great idea for you to go spearfishing with someone who, by all accounts, is eccentric. I guess you could call him, well, he's strange to say the least. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to apply for that. And we looked at his podcast cover art, Under the Skin. Doesn't that remind you of like a trackable or digital surveillance or something injected under your skin? We looked at the occultic imagery here, and you can get all of the details about Brand's rebrand to Christianity, his strange hypnotic mind manipulation mantras that he tries to pass off as public speaking. Friends, I'm not going to subject you to any of that in this video. You can watch the video if you want to. I will share a link with you about his appearance at the, that's where I got these images actually, his appearance at, his second appearance at the Turning Point event. This one was in Oklahoma in October of 2025. I certainly don't want Brand or any trackers or any of that under my skin, but we are going to look at his bizarre and obvious gestures, signs, and symbols that he proudly and intentionally displays quite frequently, not just in this last appearance, but in many. And I'm going to share not only Russell Brand doing these gestures, but others in the MAGA movement. So why in the non-spinning world would TP, yes, that's the abbreviation. We used to call it, you would toilet paper somebody's house when you were a kid. You would TP their house. Why would TP USA want this character influencing young conservatives, ostensibly most who are Christian? Would it be to cleverly use Brand as a Pied Piper of sorts, drawing the innocent, naive youth into his web in order to mind, it really beguile them to follow him and accept whatever it is that Brand or probably his puppet masters want to impose? Gee willikers, never been done before. I'm tripping over my own words. So people will say, why, Peggy, why? I think you already know why. It's because conservatives and Christians are likely the last to accept more government control, restrictions, regulations, tracking, surveillance, tyranny, oppression, authoritarianism, fascism, any other ism you can come up with, unless, of course, it's presented to them by a quirky Christian celebrity who, if he's a new Christian, many of the faults and flaws will be overlooked by his followers, they won't be questioned. I mean, it's okay, isn't it, that Brand equated in the video I showed you yesterday, he said His Holiness the Dalai Lama was basically the same as Jesus Christ. He also, well, if you can call it speaking, that's what he was speaking about at his previous appearance at Turning Point. So in various podcasts, not just at Turning Point, Brand frequently says that basically all of the teachings of the world's religions are almost the same. He said they're basically the same. They're rooted in goodness and truth and love. And since Christ is love, well, can't we all just get along? That, my friends, is basically what Russell Brand is peddling, or something along those lines. So here is his strange performance at Turning Point. And it's not so much of importance to me what he was saying there. I don't want to subject you to it, but it is what he was signaling. Do I need to remind everyone again that there are symbols and gestures that are communicated by those who are in the club, whether it's the Illuminati, the Kabbalist, the occultists, the Luciferians, the Freemasons, the Mormons use some of these gestures. To me, it doesn't really matter because they probably have some of their own signs and gestures that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. But you'll see that there are books and books. There are just thousands of pages that are dedicated to showing you these signs and symbols and gestures. This came from an old book, and I just want to kind of lay the path here for you. Of course, not every word, symbol, gesture, clothing, spelling, color, etc., is inherently evil. You may have used some of these yourself. It doesn't make you a Freemason or an occultist. I have to repeat this every time, my friends, not for my sophisticated, savvy, healthy Americans, but for those who are new and inevitably are going to leave me a comment saying, Peggy, I've made that gesture. It doesn't make me a Freemason. Well, how do I know? So you know that it's the intention behind those things that make all the difference. But you will be gullible and naive if you believe that these gestures are not done intentionally, especially when they're done repeatedly and awkwardly. Unnaturally, it definitely is a tell. So when I show these to you, we know that they're used to communicate something probably only known to them. But just keep an open mind instead of dismissing these gestures as normal and common and something that everyone does. The reason I bring this to you is to determine whether or not we can trust these people. So let's take a look at some of these gestures. This one I've seen crop up again and again. And some will say, and I tend to agree with them, that perhaps this is the letter C. And you know that the Turning Point USA logo is shaped like a C. I can't really figure out Charlie Kirk's logo here. I guess that E is for Charlie. It kind of looks like the equal, the equality and equity, those lines. That's very troubling to me as well. And the blue and the white we know is associated with Epstein. And I don't go down that rabbit hole because I don't even know if that in and of itself is a psyop. But I will admit that that is a very strange logo there behind Brand. And you'll see that not only does he do that again and again, remember, we just need to gather these clues. Let's see if we can find any others. Oh, there's Jack Hibbs, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes is grabbing the headlines. I showed some of his strange gestures in a few videos ago. JD Vance doing it. There's John MacArthur. Oh, looks like Nick Fuentes is doing a double down, a C and a C. And if you give a numeric value to the letter ABC, that would be a 33. Perhaps, maybe not, but perhaps equating to the 33rd degree of Freemasonry. Charlie sure seemed to love that one a lot. Oh, there's Russell Brand in the black and white, occultic colors and Freemason colors of dualism. I've mentioned that before. And let's dive into a few others here. This is the hidden hand. And that is a very well-known, maybe one of the most well-known gestures of Freemasonry. Again, the Freemasons, the occultists, the Jesuits, the Illuminati, the Kabbalah, Scientology, they've all borrowed. I can't even keep a list of all of I'll just lump them all into the occult. And here you see it again and again. So these here, the knuckles together, that's a different one. I did not see Russell Brand doing that. This just happens to be in a compilation I made. But here you'll see the Beatles doing the hidden hand. This Kyle Rittenauer, that to me seemed like a giant psyop. I have gathered clues on that one. Let me know if you want me to break that down. There's a lot of strange characters and crisis actors in that whole spectacle. And it's interesting to me that it is absolutely identical to what New Scum is doing. And I grabbed these off of videos. So aside from the one of the Beatles and this drawing, all of these I grabbed from watching video footage to save you the trouble. If you appreciate what I do, you can support me by becoming a subscriber over at the Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. And here it's when I saw this video of Newsome, he literally intentionally did this gesture. And then I think I don't even know if he took anything out of his pocket. So once you're aware, you'll be able to see these again and again. You can email them to me, support@thehealthyamerican.org. I would love to add them to my growing collection. Here's a little mild version of Benihana doing it. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was his name. And he is a little bit doing the Hail Satan sign. It was difficult for me to catch a screen grab exactly when I wanted to, but he definitely also does this bear claw or the paw, and that is another Freemasonry gesture. You may say, Peggy, he's just fiddling with the button on his suit coat jacket. Well, you can believe that if you like, but when you see the frequency of his gestures, you also will begin to determine and discern that that is a clue. I want to focus in on this strange bent thumb. I have not heard anyone really talk about this. I uncovered it when I was doing my coverage on Elon Musk. I'll show a picture of that in a moment. But I noticed that Charlie Kirk loves, I'm going to use the present tense for reasons you probably know, loves to use that bent thumb. Oh, Glenn Beck doing the double bent thumb. Any y'all still watching this guy? If so, please let me know why. Oh, there it is. You think that was just an accident? You think all of these were just done? It's a normal gesture. I can't even bend my thumb that way. I find it very strange. And here he is again. He did it several times in different appearances. There's Charlie. Isn't that weird that this says angels, like Charlie's Angels, and C and C? You know what? I might have gotten this one off. Oh, no, I know where I got this. This was from a church. And Charlie was speaking at the church. CNC 33, Charlie's Angels. And we were also told by Rob McCoy, who used to be a pastor at Godspeak Church, that Charlie is an angel in heaven. I think Rob forgot that God created angels and humans as different created beings. Rob, got to go back to the Bible there. Oh, Peggy, he was just saying it in jest. Oh, just like he said, Charlie Kirk is still alive. He also said that. He also said that Charlie was someone who created order out of chaos. Yes, I believe that is one of the taglines of many of the occult cults. Oh, well, how do you like them apples? It looks like the neo-Nazis like that gesture too. Hey, I'm not trying to divide anyone. Don't start drawing conclusions about my views on Germany and World War II and all. Just pointing it out that it's a very common gesture among those who have a proclivity for that guy with the funny mustache. And there he is with the bent thumb himself. And there is a little cross that kind of looks like that necklace Erica Kirk had, although hers was slightly different. But again, they borrow these symbols and gestures one from the other. This was taken, it shows George Katidis celebrating a goal with a Nazi salute, and he has a bent thumb. Oh, PBD, he really likes this gesture as well. He's doing it again. As you can see, he's on the MAGA train as well. Oh, speaking of MAGA, not Erica Trump, Eric, well, I'll just say Eric Trump, on a podcast with Benny Hill. I mean, Benihana. I mean, Benny Hinn. Oh, I keep getting it wrong. And do you think he has a broken thumb, friends? Is that what's going on here? Okay. Everybody's got broken thumbs. I didn't realize it. They need to get a splint on that broken thumb. No wonder. No wonder. Where did I leave off here? Yep. Making all, man, now it's making sense. Oh, Frank Turek had to get in the game as well. Yeah. You know how I feel about Frank. Glenn, just better get that thumb checked out. It looks very painful. Oh, how do you like them apples? There's Erica Kirk. Gosh, that kind of looks like this one. And this one. And that one. That kind of looks like Erica Kirk's one. Yeah, there you go. All right. Oh, Elon had to do the double salute. Of course, don't be telling me that what he did at Trump's inauguration, that was just his love gesture, the love salute. Let's not get that wrong. I do have an entire Substack and video about that, which I was excoriated for. People said, I didn't understand that this actually means I love you. That's what Hitler was saying. Again, don't be drawing conclusions about my views on World War II. I'll have to cover that probably in a private webinar. YouTube doesn't take too kindly to that kind of truth. So, speaking of Rob McCoy, I don't want to leave him out of the picture, do I? He went through a whole rigmarole of ostensibly teaching people how to remember the 10 Commandments, throwing out all sorts of Masonic hand gestures, covering it up. McCoy, Scottish. Freemasonry started in Scotland. Dare I mention that his father was in psychological operations? I believe it was in the Navy. Apple don't fall too far from the tree. Speaking about apples, friends. Well, look at that. Blake Neff, the producer on the Charlie Kirk show, he's got an injured thumb as well. And it looks like Jim Caviezel, of course, a name that I can't pronounce, who was in a very occultic film trying to be passed off as Christian called The Passion of the Christ. I could only watch a few minutes of that, and I had to turn it off because of all of the triangles and the one-eyed symbolism and all of the gestures that were being thrown around. Thank you to my Healthy American who sent me this photo. Friends, you can email me the photos that you catch at support. It's support@thehealthyamerican.org. So for all y'all that say these are innocent gestures, I'd like for you to explain exactly how. There he is again. There he is again. Oh, with his buddy, Yuval Harari, who loves to talk about the Fourth Industrial Revolution, saying that our bodies and brains are hackable, so we better get used to it. Now, here's a variation on the bent thumb. It's like the bent finger. This guy here with the stained glass window behind him, he was doing a weird, bizarre, so-called interview with 4 so-called witnesses of the so-called Charlie Kirk so-called shooting. And I guess they were in a Mormon church. Again, I don't even want to subject you to the bizarre actors who really need to go to the Robbie Parker School of Acting. In fact, I think they must have graduated from the Robbie Parker School of Acting. And if you don't know Robbie Parker, do a quick internet search. You'll see the video where, he can hardly hold back his tears speaking about the non-killing of his non-child. I'll just put it that way. So what gives with this? You see here, Charlie's left hand has that weird bent finger. I guess it could be the 666 sign, or I really don't know what all these gestures mean. And I think it's less important for me to know what they mean than to know they are gesturing something. So when I see people like this, I don't trust them. I don't trust what they're selling. I don't trust what they're saying. I don't trust what they're standing for. I don't trust any of it because I already know through discernment and through having my eyes open that they are actually communicating something other than what I'm than what is ostensible. In other words, they're saying one thing, communicating another, and it's it is up to us to read between the lies. So why do they do that? Well, as I say, they all share one agenda, which is to separate you from God, separate you from your conscience, from your rational thinking mind, so that you can be used to fulfill their own evil agenda items, culminating in power, control over you, your thoughts, your actions, and your very life. We have seen it played out for decades, from the original serpent in the garden, continuing until today. Man has sought to replace God, and evil is the driving force behind that. That is why I am bringing you these videos. It brings me no pleasure to have to even be exposed to these images. If you trust Glenn Beck, I would ask you why. Now, I want to finish with this great comment on my Substack. And she said, Russell Brand, ruse, sell, brand, right? Like a ruse, it's the cover, the fake. And I said, good one. Brand is certainly past the sell date. And she said, aha, they do so love to put it right in front of our faces. And he is definitely past the sell date. Absolutely, friends. So let's see if I can, I did want to show you. This is the video. It's called, This is the Turning Point Tour with Russell Brand. It starts up around the hour mark. Right off the bat, he's got the hidden hand. And for the next hour, you'll see him throw out all those gestures. And why in the non-spinning world, you're speaking in front of conservative Christians and you're dressed like that? And this is mild for Brand. I've seen him basically remove his clothing on stage. He'll take off the jacket, then he'll take off the sweater. And also that is done intentionally. And I find it rather despicable. So let's see where you are, friends. I think this is our live stream here. And I appreciate you being on board. Thank you to our moderators. Remember, I still have a couple more videos for you this week. And then on Fridays, I'm at my other channel, Living Swell, like riding a swell in the ocean, Living Swell with Peggy Hall. And we talk about not current events. We don't talk about Russell Brand on that channel, or Charlie Kirk, or Erica Kirk for that matter. We talk about you and what's going on in your life and how you can keep your head above the waves in the stormy seas. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate that you are sharing this video, sharing my information. Tanya says all of them are witches. I believe that it is witchcraft. I would say that is the occult at its basic. And Freemasonry shares the same initiations with witchcraft. I don't really want to cover a lot of witchcraft on this channel. I personally don't want to be exposed to it. I don't want to expose you to it, because the demons and the serpents love that we actually are even knowing about it and learning about it. I will show you a couple of images, strange images of Erica Kirk, who looks very much like a Nordic witch with her braids and her long hair and the intense gaze, you know, those you can even gesture with your eyes. Like in New Zealand, the Maoris, they do their like facial gestures, and their eyes are very aggressive. And Erica Kirk does that as well. So I believe that's part of it. I believe that the jewelry and the nails and the clothing and her whispering, all of that is a part of witchcraft. I don't want to break that down for you. I don't want to be exposed to it. I don't want to expose you to it, but I do recognize it. And I don't want to give that energy or attention. But it is important that we are aware. Yes, Jim Caviezel, absolutely. He wouldn't be in a movie. Friends, they're performers. They're actors, actually actresses or actors pretending to be actresses, and vice versa. So yeah, I am doing this as a public service because I want to help you read between the lies, as I say, and not fall for these charlatans. Tanya says they are inverts. Tanya, you missed my video yesterday. I did an entire thing about Russell Brand and the inverts. Friends, if you didn't see yesterday's video, that's what you should watch next. All right. So thank you, everybody, for being on board. Kathy says she can see the evil in the eyes. You're absolutely right. And I so appreciate your comments. Tanya, I'm glad that you are awake and aware. You are so exactly accurate. The inversion is their religion. They believe that they have transcended the male and the female, and that they actually believe they are superior to you. Some of them do it as a performance. I don't even know if this is really Russell Brand. I mean, it's probably a fake name. It's a fake persona, just like that other weird Bud Light person did that. I mean, that's like a performer. Because there are people that are genuinely struggling with these gender issues. And it is heartbreaking to know that they have been entrapped by society, by the media, or by their own struggles. So I don't make light of that. I do not stand, I cannot stand the Deceivers, which is why I do not watch movies. I don't listen to music. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And they are casting their spells, and we need to break that by knowing and recognizing and warning others as well. All right, I'm going to rest my voice. As you can hear, I was tripping over my words a little bit. Oh, you're so right about Katie Ledecky. You're right about all of the Olympian athletes. Going back since the Olympics began, I have a whole treasure trove of photos from so-called female athletes in the Olympics, in track and swimming and gymnastics and ice skating and all of it. It's entertainment, my friends. These are performers. And I know you know that. All right. Thank you, everybody. Proton Girl disagrees about the non-spinning Earth. Leave a comment why. Oh, no, more than a comment. Leave me evidence that we're spinning. Haven't seen it, haven't felt it. If you've got evidence that's actually verifiable through our own physical experiences, I'd love to know it. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you being on board. I value my Healthy American audience. And you can follow me at my Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. I mention it again and again because that's where you'll find me if this channel ever goes down. Signing off now, friends, and I'll see you in tomorrow's broadcast.